Hello, online art teachers K-12. I'm Dr. Trina Harlow. I haven't made one of these videos in a while, and I thought it was about time for another one. I want to encourage you today in this video, so I hope you'll take a few minutes to watch it. You know, OK-12 is a service project by art teachers for art teachers. We were created on March 11th of 2020 in an effort to help our profession survive pandemic teaching and help all of us know how to transition to remote and hybrid instruction. We're not an organization just for online teachers. We are an online workspace where art teachers work together collectively and collaboratively for the betterment of art education. You know, last year, this time, none of us really knew what to expect. We were all moving into our school year. Those of us that are on a 9-month school year, we were all beginning our school year for the first time ever, wearing masks and socially distancing, and had our classrooms converted by administrators or environmental engineers, and we were sanitizing, and we were all very nervous because none of us knew what to expect. After the late spring and summer of social distancing, we weren't really sure what was going to happen when we all got back together. And I wish I could say that it was an easy year. I guess it could have been an easy year for some of you, but I think for most of us, me included, it was a very challenging year, full of uphill struggles and downhill slides. We'd get to the top of the mountain, and the next thing we knew, we'd be sliding down to the valley. It was very interesting. Every day was different. Every day was unique. And on top of just the logistics of teaching, we were dealing with emotion and feelings and anxiety and trauma caused by the life that we were seeing lived in our local places, but also across the whole world. And it was just a very challenging time for all of us in education. And for the rest of my life, I'm going to be so proud of how art education came together. And this little tiny group called Online Art Teachers K-12 that started on March 11th, that now is almost 20,000 members strong. You know, I feel like our profession needs you. Our focus in this group is art education, and that's about it. We documented a few things throughout the year historically, just as a timeline, so that someday when someone is looking back through the relics of social media and some future civilization, that perhaps they can see what unfolded in this group and what we were dealing with along this way. I know my school year has just started, and I was pretty excited for this year to start, and I was very happy to be in my classroom with students. Although I was all year last year, students had a choice. About half my students came to class on campus, and about half did remote instruction, but I was on campus. And this year we're all on campus together, and I just feel a sense of joy being with my students. However, I think we still have some obstacles and challenges in front of us. And one of those, I think, is just re-engaging our minds and our brains in the business of what we do as teachers. And I think just realizing and calling it what it is, but we are still living in this pandemic. We're still dealing with it. And I'm just seeing a whole range of emotions across the board in students of all ages, and reading about emotions of all ages of students. And I'm even reading about a rise in the number of fights on school campuses and things, because honestly, I think there's just a numbness or a tiredness among all of us that we're just kind of tired of this, and we're not really sure how to quite get over it. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today. I am proud of the collaboration in this group. I'm proud of how we toss out challenges and we work through them together. We've got a fabulous group of team leaders. Our co-director, Bob Reeker, Dr. Sarah Ackerman from Ball State University, Kate Miller from Kansas, where she is a school art teacher, Holly Best Kincaid from Virginia, Jane Montero from Michigan, Danny Bryant from South Carolina, Caitlin Johns from Maryland, and then our international member, Christine Wellman, down there on the island of Bermuda. So we're just really honored to have this wonderful group of team leaders working with online art teachers K-12. They are all teachers too, and we're trying to kind of reorganize things a little bit so we're not taking so much of their time because this service project has really been more than a full-time job for myself and Bob Reeker, and we've utilized a lot of time for our teachers. And so as Oak goes forward, we're looking at some ways that we can adapt and grow and continue. So we just started a blog. It's up on our website, the first post, and the second post will be up in about a week. We'd love you to go check out Noteworthy, our blog. And we're looking at a speakers bureau and doing some other things. We want to keep OAT as a service project in our profession of art education. And I do want to talk just for a minute about the emotions that we're all feeling one more time. And I want to speak specifically to you, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I like it when leaders are transparent and human, and that is a choice I've made when I'm a leader, is to be transparent and human with the people I lead. I really don't enjoy working for leaders that pretend that everything is okay. I think that the realness of life affects us as leaders. And so I'll use myself as an example. In recent weeks, it feels like my family avoided COVID forever. And we're all vaccinated, but various family members that are vaccinated are getting COVID. And grandchildren, of course, who were not vaccinated are getting COVID. And it's just been kind of crazy the last month or two, and our world's been a little crazy. And I don't know about you, but I just can't stand to see people suffer. It is probably the one thing that gets me riled up and going more than anything. And there's a lot of suffering going on in our world, and there was before the pandemic, there was before political things that are going on right now. A large portion of this world doesn't have it very easy, and this is something that speaks to my heart as a person, and it speaks to my teacher's heart and my heart as a professional. And so I have taken some time to really just enjoy the start of school and get myself organized with my job and the things that I need to do for work. And then I took a breath, and then I realized for a couple weeks I just felt very disorganized. So I took some time to kind of understand that. And the conclusion I've come to is that all last school year I wasn't as organized as I always am. I'm one of the most organized people you will ever cross paths with. But I had a classroom on campus where I had some things. I had an office on campus my first year there that I got all set up, but it wasn't really, it looked very neat and tidy, but I couldn't find things I needed, and I didn't work out of that office very much. So then I had my home office, which was not as neat and tidy as my work office, and I kept myself organized here, but it always seemed that some things I needed were in my work office and some things I needed were in my home office. And then, of course, our cars. I think a lot of us were a little bit mobile this past year, so we even had things in our cars. And so I've spent some time the last few days realizing that I have a lot of irons in the fire, and I know you do too as teachers. We always do. Constantly being asked to do more things, and there are things that are near and dear to my professional heart that I want to do, and of course I have a wonderful family I want to spend some time with. So I've taken some time to begin getting myself organized in a way that works for me. I don't know about you, but I'm just really tired of everything being on a plastic and metal device, my computer, because I've got to open it up and I've got to go to different apps or windows to see everything. And so I've decided out of sight, out of mind kind of makes it hard to stay organized. And I just don't want to stare at my computer screen all day long. And so I took some time to organize categories of my work on my office doors. You can see right here. I have a category for teaching, for scholarship, for service. I have a category for grants, and I have a category for professional development. And then I've started breaking down each of the main categories by subcategories. And I'm using sticky notes to put up there. And then I have some very small sticky notes that I'm going to begin putting the most important things I need to be working on for each of those pink sticky notes. Those pink sticky notes represent responsibilities I have or priorities that I have. And one thing that I've already realized is by making that long list of pink priorities under the orange category, I'm able to move things up and down on that pink list, and I can put the things that are a lower priority for me at the bottom, the thing that's the highest priority for me at the top, and then I can rank the things in between. And it's already helping me see that I want to spend less time on a certain organization I have a role in, and I want to spend a lot more time on another organization I have a role in. It's helping me prioritize my time. Then I've made a folder, and it's just I'm sorry, I am the queen of technology. I've had fabulous technology training in my career, all kinds of professional development, paid workshops, you name it, I've done it. And I can do almost anything on the computer. I surprise young people when they see what all I can do. But I'm kind of going back to the good old days because I just can't stare at a computer all day. We're all having eyesight problems. And so I've gone back, I've made a folder for each organization, and I've stapled some legal documents, legal paper in it. I was keeping notes in a paper planner for every meeting I attended, but I find I'm having to flip back and forth through my planner to find the meeting last month for a certain organization. So I'm making a folder for each of the main categories of service, all the clubs and organizations that I'm an officer in or on the board for, and it's quite a few. And already I can tell this is keeping me a lot more organized. I know right where to go to find the meeting minutes from the last meeting, the notes I took, the things I starred that I need to do. So between my sticky notes on my office closet and my folder system, I already feel much more organized. And one thing I want to mention about this is I've noticed it's just not as easy for me right now to keep myself organized as it was last spring. And I think it's because of this life we're living, and I'm still a highly organized person. I'm just noticing some things about myself. And so I decided to take some time to think about me, my personal life, my professional life, prioritize what matters, get myself organized in a bit more old-fashioned way, quit staring at my computer all the day. And I'm already enjoying walking in and standing in front of my sticky notes. Now I could use Jamboard or Padlet, and I could do this, but then I have to have my computer plugged in if the battery's dead, or have my computer charged, and I've got to go out there and find it and stare at a computer screen even more. And I just don't feel like we as humans were made to stare at device screens all day long. So I'm enjoying just coming here and standing here in front of this and scrolling my eyes down those, moving the sticky notes around. Next time you see it, there's probably going to be a whole lot of these very small ones on there. But the small details are probably going to go mostly in these folders. And this is going to be the broad categories of my life where I'm focusing. And some new initiatives I need to get going here that I've been working on for years prior to the pandemic. So First of all, I think one of the things that we've got to do first to help us cope as teachers with this new world we're living in is we just have to get ourselves reorganized, organized in a new way, regathered, recollected, because our things, our teaching things, our resources, our notes, our notebooks, everything is spread out. It's at work, it's at home, it's all over. So that's been a priority for me. The other thing I want to talk about is we've just got to claim joy on a daily basis. And I have really been working on this because there's just been a lot going on this past year. It has, the events that have unfolded across the globe this past year have created all kinds of emotions and feelings and opinions in all of us. And the thing is, we humans are not all cut from the same cloth. We don't all have the exact same opinion about every exact thing. We're all different, and we arrive at our opinions through our own logic and reasoning, and because of what's important to us in life. And I have decided that I am going to claim joy every day. It doesn't mean that I'm not tired of this pandemic life. It doesn't mean that I'm not upset about things going on in another part of the world. Some of us have a friend who was an American university student in Afghanistan, and she's been emailing some of us, and she was trapped at the border and can't get out of Afghanistan, and our hearts are breaking for her. And I feel like some things are being done behind the scenes to try and help her, but I really don't know, and I don't know if it will happen. So there's just a lot of things going on in this world, and but I stop and I think about my Granny Cole, my grandmother Heim, the women that came before them, the men in my family that came before them, going back so many generations to the dawn of time. Human beings have always had a lot to deal with. I think that one thing that makes it all much more difficult now is the fact that we can see what's happening anywhere in the world within seconds of it happening because of the internet. And so I think too it's important that we monitor how much time we spend out searching deep Twitter for what's going on in Afghanistan, or we we monitor how much time we spend on the difficult aspects of social media, and that there's so much joy out there on social media. There are so many wonderful groups like OK12. So we've got to claim joy, y'all, on a daily basis. We have got to get up in the morning and say, I'm claiming joy today. And we need to think of how that joy is going to look for you today. I'm meeting a student on a picnic table to talk about her honors project. That was yesterday. I can't wait to meet her. She's going to be working on an honors project, doing art in a children's hospital, and I'm going to be her advisor and be a part of that. That is joyful to me. So look for things that give you joy, and make sure you've built that joy into every single day. And one other thing I want to mention is find freshness. Find freshness in the nowness. You're living in the here and now. So find freshness in the nowness. What will freshen you as a professional is teaching all the same units and art projects and lesson plans. Is that going to provide freshness for you? Or would it be fun for you to throw in some brand new unit and learn something new yourself? That always got my creative juices going. Maybe you can take up a new hobby or begin to work as a volunteer with a new organization. I know I'm starting an organization, a regional organization here in Central Arkansas that I'm very excited about. It's an arts-based group, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm hopefully just about to start doing some work with the Boys and Girls Club here, because I worked with Boys and Girls Club all the years I was at Kansas State University, and in the summers out in New Mexico. So I am, and those things are on my wall, okay? So find some things that can give you freshness in the nowness, and reach out to some people around you that you haven't talked to lately. Call someone while you're driving somewhere. Call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Check in with people. We've spent a year just kind of coming inward, so let's begin to go outward again. Call someone or track someone down on social media that was your teacher in college or high school or elementary school if you can find them. Talk to a friend you haven't talked to in a long time, and make sure your family knows that you're there for them, and check in with them. I think that's what we all need right now. We need some freshness in the nowness. So let's have a great school year. Those of you that have been teaching all summer, we want you to have freshness in the nowness also. Those of you that have just started or just getting ready to start, you can do this. Have a great school year. Claim joy. Find freshness in the nowness. Get organized. And please, 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 jump on Oak K-12 as often as you can and comment on teachers' questions and posts. Let's get back in that collaborative spirit now that school started. And Oak took a summer break because we all needed a break. Let's get fired back up for a fantastic school year and this service project by art teachers for art teachers. You are Oak K-12.